Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So now, in continuing, alright, so like I said, wrong decision. Like I spoke about in the last sitting. Wrong decision led me down a spiral of just chaos. So what happened now, because obviously before I had the schedule, like I go out, I do my thing. I used to go out on we have a deck outside, and I used to just work out, just push-ups, pull-ups, and not pull-ups because we don't have a pull-up bar, but push-ups. I used to do dips off the railing of the deck, right? So, and then and that's it. I would just be out back, and people were just pulling up. I'm talking to people until like about 11, and then I go to sleep. Not sleep, I'm sorry. Then I go and I go, and I'm talking about my schedule now. But then I start to just lay down and just start reading. So I would just read the whole night away. Because nobody calls me in the morning, generally. The phone call, there was no phone calls. Back in those days, beepers. It was a pager. So I had a beeper. So I started getting like pages like around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and like after school basically, So 3 o'clock in the afternoon all the way up until 11 o'clock at night. Depends on the day. If it's like a Tuesday night, then generally like 9 o'clock it's done. Because Florida does, if anybody lives in Jacksonville knows, a lot of people, they go home, they get inside early. I don't like to hang during the weeknights. You don't see really a lot of people out and about at nights on on the weekends. Yeah, the weekends is different. Weekends could go all the way up until 1 o'clock in the morning. But it's different. Some nights just 11. 11 o'clock is just generally like 11 was like the cutoff, and then I just started reading. But then what I started doing was like by 11 o'clock I would just go out to the corner, because like all the neighbors, they used to hang out at this one house on the corner, and everybody would just hang out on the porch and just smoke, drink, and all this. So I started doing that now. So now I come home from the masjid, change my clothes, I hang out with them, and now I just started doing just stupid stuff, like I would take like a half ounce of weed and just roll it up, because I had these papers like the rollout where you could just roll it as long as you want. So I roll it and stick one to the next, and then I take a half ounce and just roll the whole thing out, and we go out there and just smoke, smoke with the neighbors and just sit out there until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I go home, and this is what I started doing. So I started reading less and less. I started caring less and less. At this point, also in time, where I used to hang out with, next to them was a bunch of strippers. Now the strippers, I don't get down with all that foolishness. All right, so just let's just be clear, right? Like right now, I like clean girls. I don't like, even in Jahiliyyah, even in the time that I was out on the streets, I don't do that stripper stuff. I don't do that. But the strippers have connections with drugs. So this is the whole thing. If you ever want any types of connections in that type of life, that's where you go through. So I started making connections with them for that purpose, not for the purpose of anything else. I never touched those girls. But like even the girl that wanted me the most, I think it was Kim. I'm not sure. Like she would, like, I would sit in the living room, and she'd be in the shower on purpose. Like, she would get in the shower when she knew I was coming over, and she would get out the shower just naked, no clothes on, and walk to her room and say, "Come back here, let's smoke." And there's stuff like that, but I'll never, the whole time I never touched her. So she used to go to the girl that not that I was with, but the girl that used to run back and forth to my house from the street. Like, she'd go and she'd get all the money from the neighbors and go to my house, right? Her name was Sonia. So she'd go to Sonia and be like, Muhammad, he's gay or what? She's like, no, he's not. He's just with the girl, just got the girl pregnant. It's like, definitely not gay. But I, just out of like, just being nice. I knew what was going on, and I knew what she was trying to do. And I can't, I was always the type of person, I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Even a stripper, I don't like to sit there and say things that, I could have just been up front and been like, look at you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the problem with a lot of these girls, because they're so accustomed to just a man wanting them. And they're not, they don't understand. Like, number one, I was a Muslim at the time. I was still going to the masjid. So, I was sitting there taking honey and black seed. Even she got sick one time. She's like, oh, I got this cough and I got to go to work tonight. And I brought the honey and the black seed over to her and said, try this. She liked it, so I got it because it was pure honey, like this pure type of Florida honey. Because they got like the orange blossom honey. We got like different types of honey here, right? So I gave that to her. She took the black seed. She felt good. She's like, oh, wow, that's cool. So I just like left it with her, you know. So she's taking the black seed and the honey whenever she got sick. You know, prophetic medicine for a stripper, you know, but, you know. So, I mean, it was just like that. I mean, I'd be sitting there, like, just in the house, and the girl was like, hey, I just got, you know, this part of my body pierced, and she pulled her pants down. I mean, I'm like, you know, but it's just, like I said, for me, that type of lifestyle never appealed to me. Money appealed to me. Like, at that point, like I said, all my relationships at that point was just money. I was not about to be with a girl that I was not going to marry. You know, so even with that girl that we broke up and everything, my intentions was, like, she's going to be my wife. I wanted for us to get married so we could end this whole, you know, fornication thing. But she wasn't having it, you know, because I think, you know, in her mind, she's like, well, that's going to end that adventure. Like I told you, everything was about the adventure, right? So anyways, so I got hooked up with them who, you know, of course, because all the strippers, they have these sugar daddies that, you know, that, and most of the, I was, let's say, because I haven't dealt with a whole bunch of them. I dealt with these two girls, that's it. And the dude that they dealt with. So, but I'm pretty sure the vast majority of the strippers have these sugar daddies, and these sugar daddies are either big businessmen or big drug dealers. Now, me, I was just a small time chump. I was out on the block just selling, you know what I'm saying? I was not anything like, you know, like this dude was on a whole nother level. Every time I saw him, he was in a different car. Yeah, this guy had some money. You know, he had money. But he didn't, you know, he didn't show off. Like you see like a lot of the nickel and dime drug dealers in Florida, you see like, you know, the gold teeth and all the gold. And this dude, he didn't do all that. He had no gold teeth, none of that stuff. Just cool. Because if you saw him like just riding around, you never think this dude was anything. But this dude was like, you know, this dude was on a whole nother level. So I mean, and that's what he did. He had all these, you know, all the strippers, they were going back to him. You know, they were buying from him. So this is the whole point. So now I'm like hanging out with these guys out on the street corner and hanging out with these girls in the house, you know, dealing with, you know, what I'm dealing with, like, you know, getting into a new enterprise, I guess you could say, because I was trying to take my business to the next level. You know, instead of like doing this like small time stuff, I tried to start getting bigger time because I wanted to start getting money. Because at this point, I just want to get out of America. All these trials and tribulations, like my mind is still stuck on. I gotta leave. I got to leave America. I gotta get done. I gotta like start trying to figure out how I'm gonna get my passport, like get a passport and start doing all this type of stuff. So, you know, this time I did actually apply for my passport at this time. So my passport I'd already applied for it. And somewhere around this time, before I got booted out of my house, my mother's house, I got my passport. So that was already done, like around this time. So I got my passport. So now I'm just thinking like, I just need money. Money. So let me take the business to the next level. Again, that stupid decision. Like I said, that decision that I made in that dude's house when I decided to smoke with him was that decision that set me on this road of bad decision, bigger bad decision, even bigger bad decision. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. It kept getting worse. So now I'm getting involved in things that could get me killed now. Whereas before I'm just like, you know, just a little neighborhood dude, you know. So it's like out on the corner. Everybody knows who I am. There's no issues, no threats on my life, no nothing. Even all the crackheads told me. They said, look, you know, the only reason why your house has never been burglarized is because you live there. That's it. As soon as I left the house, which I'll get to in, you know, either this episode or the next episode. As soon as I left the house, well, I was kicked out of the house got burglarized. The house got burglarized. So just like that, you know, because I mean, it was just like everybody, we all had this type of, we're all in the same neighborhood. We all lived on the same street. We all knew each other. So there's no point in, you know, somebody broke in my house, I would know who did it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, what happens, happens. But, so that was the decision I made now. Now I'm like on a whole new thing. And now it's not just the selling that's going to a whole nother level, it's the usage. So now, before, like I said, and the last thing was just, now I was just smoking weed, drinking malt liquor. Now I got a whole nother habit that I'm going to start doing, which is, you know, the butter, you know, and then start to use that all the time. So now it's like, you know, not only am I like, you know, this new enterprise that I got of trying to make more money, but I'm also now, I have another habit that's going on in my life. That now I'm using a different drug now. And, you know, so it's just getting worse and worse. So then it started with one Friday, you know, I'm not going to Jumar. I'm tired, you know, I don't feel well. So I called up the brother that picks me up. I didn't even call him. I just like I'd have been up all night and you know, doing this stuff, and I felt so shy, and I felt so embarrassed about the stuff I was doing. I couldn't, you know, and this is how Shaitan gets you, right? I felt so embarrassed about the stuff that I was doing that when the brother came, he's honking the horn, I wouldn't even get up and tell him. I felt so embarrassed to even go out and talk to the brother to tell him, look, I'm not feeling well. Go on without me today. And you know, the brother came to pick me up, and nothing. I didn't call him. I didn't say anything. He just honking and honking and honking, and then he finally left and he went to Jum'ah. You know, and I stayed. Again, another bad decision. Because that decision, this time I'm still praying, but I'm not going to the masjid anymore. That was it. That decision right there killed it. Where now I'm not even going to the masjid at all. Because the brother now, he's like, you know, I think he tried one more time to come pick me up. And again, I didn't even call, I didn't talk, because I was so embarrassed to even talk. It's just so stupid, right? It shows you how Shaitan gets you. And then that was it. He stopped coming by. Now I'm just like off into the, you know, the depths of this abyss of evil now. So how long, you know, how long am I gonna keep up salat? How long am I gonna keep up doing these things now? Like I said, I'm not really reading much anymore. I'm hanging out with the neighbors. I'm hanging out with all the neighbors, everybody, you know, everybody now. You know, I'm at their house. I'm at their house. I'm out on the corner, on the porch with these folks. And this is my life now. And all of this because, I felt sorry for myself. You see how this goes. Because it's, like I said, in the last sitting, and I'll repeat it again, it's that one decision. It's that one decision. If it goes unchecked, it can destroy it could be the destruction of your whole life. So we have to be very, 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 very specific and what's the word I'm looking for? You know, like the decisions that we make, they have to be on purpose. Like there has to be a purpose for them. We don't just make decisions because of desire or because we feel sorry for ourselves, because we're playing the victim, or, you know, because these types of decisions, if they go unchecked, they lead to your destruction. They lead to your demise, and you're still breathing on the earth. You're walking around the earth, but you're dead. You're not. There's no life in your heart. There's no life in you. You know? So it's like, you know, amwatun ghayra ahya. They're like dead. There's no life in them. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the kuffar and the munafiqeen. Amwatun ghayra ahya. I mean, they just walk around and they're just like they're dead people walking. There's no life in their heart. There's no benefit from them. Nothing. Because of one decision. One decision. Because that one decision made the next bad decision easier. Which made the next bad decision easier. So now I'm like, you know, now I'm like trapped now. Now I feel trapped. Now I feel like somebody tossed me off into a pit and I can't get out now. But nobody tossed me. I tossed myself. You understand? So we have to go back and we have to reflect on these things. And we have to realize that it's our fault. And the only way that we're going to get out of that pit is by going back to Allah. Getting back to the religion, getting back to the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and getting back to the things, and getting back to just getting closer to Allah and learning His religion. As long as you don't do that, you stay in that pit. And I stayed in that pit for like, let me see, this was 99, so it was about a good 10 months, I'd say. And inshallah, I'll try to cover those 10 months as fast as possible, because I don't really care about talking about this stuff much more. So I'm going to try, and inshallah, in the next sitting, I'm going to try to just cover all the events that took place up until me leaving to go to Atlanta. Because me going to Atlanta, that's what started the good stuff. That started me making, you know, repenting, trying to practice my religion, and I want to get away from all this garbage. You know, alhamdulillah, you know, I talked about it, you know, because sometimes we have to talk about these things to remind ourselves that what we used to be. But it's not. I don't find any joy in talking about this foolishness. Allahumma musta'an. So inshallah, the next sitting will be the last sitting with this foolishness. I'm gonna try to cover it. Even if the video ends up being 45 minutes to an hour long, I'm just gonna knock it all out. And inshallah, then I'll go back and then I'll deal with like when I repented, and then let's get back to the good things. Inshallah. Wallahu musta'an.